There's a new race shaping the global economy, the AI race. It's not only about clever algorithms. It's about compute, chips, talent, energy, and how fast countries turn AI into real productivity. According to the Stanford AI Index, private AI investment cooled from the 2021 peak, but the number of new AI startups keeps rising, more players entering, more experiments scaling. So who's ahead today? The United States, China, or the rest of the world? What actually changed? For years, AI lived in research labs. Then generative AI broke through, systems that write, code, summarize, and design at scale. According to McKinsey and AMP Company, generative AI could add between $2.6 and $4.4 trillion a year to the global economy, roughly like adding a whole new Japan or Germany in output. But power cuts both ways. Geoffrey Hinton has warned in interviews that capability is rising fast, and we're not fully prepared for risks like misinformation, model misuse, and automation that outpaces policy. At the same time, Demis Hassabis at Google DeepMind points to real breakthroughs like AlphaFold and calls this moment transformative, potentially bigger and faster than past tech waves if it's governed wisely. The scoreboard, compute chips, capital, and talent compute is king. According to Rand Analysis, America's real edge is total compute capacity, the hyperscale data centers, the GPUs, and the high-speed networking to train frontier models. On chips, the BBC and other outlets highlight NVIDIA's dominance in AI accelerators, while AMD is surging on cloud partnerships and custom silicon, reshaping the AI hardware landscape. OpenAI's push to diversify chip suppliers, working with NVIDIA and AMD, shows how access to compute is the bottleneck in this race. Capital still matters. According to the Stanford AI Index, U.S. startups continue to attract outsized funding even as global totals cool. More firms, smarter money, faster productization. And talent remains the flywheel. The U.S. advantage has long been immigration, drawing world-class researchers and founders. Even with higher H-1B fees and policy uncertainty, leaders like NVIDIA's Jensen Huang have said they'll keep sponsoring visas because immigration is essential to U.S. tech leadership. China's strategy, scale, adoption, and education. China is moving fast with a different playbook. According to business leaders like Alibaba's Joe Tsai, the AI race may not be winner-take-all. China's edge is rapid adoption and leaner, cost-effective models that run everywhere. Coverage of rising players like DeepSeek highlights algorithmic efficiency, not just raw GPU counts, competitive models on fewer chips. That matters if export controls keep state-of-the-art hardware scarce. Education is a force multiplier. According to policy statements from the State Council in China, AI topics are being woven into K-12 and university curricula. More AI majors, more robotics in classrooms, more competitions, so the next generation is AI native by design. Local governments sponsor tech fairs and maker festivals that bring AI tools directly into schools and small factories. On infrastructure, AI at scale needs power. Chinese planners are standing up massive energy capacity, hydro, solar, grid build-outs, which can accelerate data center expansion. U.S. voices warn America must speed up its own power build for data centers or face energy bottlenecks. Bottom line, the U.S. leads on frontier compute, chips, and capital density. China excels at fast deployment, industrial integration, education, and scale-up logistics. That's why analysts say the race is tighter than many assume. The rulebook, the U.S. Executive Order, and the EU AI Act tech leadership isn't just hardware, it's governance. In the United States, Executive Order 14110 on safe, secure, and trustworthy AI set a national direction model safety testing, critical infrastructure protections, talent programs, and competitive markets. Think seatbelts and highways for the AI economy. In Europe, the EU AI Act entered into force with a risk-based framework. Strict rules for high-risk uses, obligations for general-purpose models, and lighter touch where risk is low. Why does this matter? Because clear rules unlock enterprise adoption, while regulatory chaos slows it down. The sweet spot is safety without strangling innovation. jobs, inequality, and the American dream question, who wins economically? According to the International Monetary Fund, around 40% of jobs globally will be affected by AI, some tasks automated, others upgraded. Advanced economies may feel more impact because more work is cognitive. If we pair AI with skills, training, and entrepreneurship, we can lift productivity, and that's the AI economy many hope for. If we don't, gains concentrate at the top. In the US, if we keep the lead in compute, chips, and talent and spread adoption to small businesses, not just big tech, we can turn the AI revolution into broad prosperity, not just headlines. Why the United States is still slightly ahead. Today, compute capacity, larger frontier clusters, more hyperscale build-outs, and a maturing cloud ecosystem. Chips. NVIDIA's leadership remains decisive, AMD is gaining, and major labs like OpenAI are adopting multi-vendor strategies. Capital and company density. The Bay Area, Seattle, Austin, and a growing set of hubs concentrate model labs, data sets, and developer ecosystems. And despite policy noise, America is still an immigration magnet. Many leading AI firms say they will keep sponsoring global talent. But the lead is not guaranteed. Analysts warn that energy constraints, patchwork state rules, and slow permitting could drag the U.S., while China moves decisively on power and deployment. Education and talent. Where the race could be won or lost. Here's the unglamorous truth: the long game is education. According to Stanford and other academic surveys, the U.S. still dominates top-tier AI research output, but the pipeline below PhD level is uneven. China is formalizing AI topics in K-12, basic machine learning concepts, data literacy, robotics clubs, and nationwide competitions, so students treat AI like today's spreadsheet, a normal tool. Universities are expanding AI majors, applied labs, and industry-backed courses aligned to manufacturing, logistics, and healthcare. That's scale. What about the U.S.? There are bright spots. According to the White House and the National Science Foundation, new funding for AI institutes and AI-enabled workforce development is expanding. State initiatives are pushing computer science in K-12, and Code.org reports rising access to CS courses, but coverage is still inconsistent across districts. Community colleges are launching applied AI certificates, while companies like Google, Microsoft, and IBM now offer industry micro-credentials for prompt engineering, data analytics, and AI operations. The private sector is moving fast. The public pipeline is catching up. Now the elephant in the room: visas. The H-1B cap and higher fees create friction just as competition for AI scientists heats up. The U.S. does have alternatives: STEM opt extensions, O1 extraordinary ability, and EB1, EB2 pathways, but those are case-by-case and slow to scale. If visa friction remains high, the U.S. must invest more aggressively in domestic talent. K-12 computer science in every district, dual enrollment AI courses with community colleges, paid apprenticeships tied to regional data center growth, and rapid upskilling for mid-career workers. In other words, build the bench at home while staying open to the world. Adoption versus benchmarks, where leadership really shows up. Benchmarks win headlines, but adoption wins GDP. According to McKinsey and the Stanford HAI Index, the real economic lift arrives when AI moves from demosto workflows, claims processing in insurers, maintenance in factories, drug discovery pipelines, logistics routing, hospital triage, and small business marketing. China's advantage is speed of deployment, turning policies into pilots, then scaling nationally. America's advantage is a dense private market that can explode adoption once ROI is proven. SaaS integration, open-source ecosystems, and developer platforms that spread best practices across thousands of firms. Whoever deploys faster across the real economy, factories, classrooms, clinics, and Main Street, builds durable advantage. Energy, data centers, and the cost of leadership. AI leadership runs on electrons. Frontier training requires staggering power. Analysts in the U.S. warn about an energy crunch for data centers unless we accelerate clean generation transmission lines and modernized permitting. China's centralized build-out gives it a scaling edge, but costs and reliability still matter. The next 5 years may hinge on who can deliver cheap, reliable power for compute at scale. Watch for U.S. expansion in renewables, grid updates, and potential new nuclear. Watch for China's grid build-outs and industrial clustering around power sources. So who's ahead and what decides the next lap? Right now, the United States leads on compute, chips, capital, and frontier labs. China is closing the gap through deployment speed, education, and infrastructure. Europe is writing the global rulebook with the EU AI Act, aiming for trust that unlocks adoption. India is expanding talent at massive scale and specializing in cost-effective AI services. The next lap will be decided by 4 levers: compute availability, energy build-out, the talent pipeline, and how quickly each country turns AI into everyday productivity. Closing the AI race will redefine work, wealth, and power. If the United States keeps its edge in compute and chips, fixes the talent pipeline with serious education and practical training, and spreads AI adoption to small businesses, not just tech giants, the American dream can expand. If not, leadership can shift toward whoever can deploy, power, and staff AI the fastest. What do you think? Will AI broaden the American dream? Or will the future belong to whoever scales energy, talent, and compute first? So what do you think? Will artificial intelligence expand the American dream or shift global power to whoever scales energy, talent, and compute the fastest? Drop your thoughts below and subscribe for more.